I've been keeping something under wraps. A failure mode so bad that I was too embarrassed to show it. But I've been hard at work creating the next hardware version of Stringman's anchors to solve it. I can't wait to show you all the ways in which they're better than the previous ones, and show you how I use the feedback that I got from beta testers and all of you to make these the backbone of a truly useful household robot. Sometimes you try a little too hard to save money in the wrong places. Jim Bolosic specifically warns against doing that.
Don't save money.
Don't save money.
Don't save money.
And somehow I did it anyway. The first motors I chose for Stringman's anchors were the MakerBase MKS42C, a NEMA 17 stepper motor with an integrated FOC driver that you control over UART. I was seduced by the fact that they're $25 each and wouldn't require any other hardware to control. They have their good points. They're pretty quiet for a stepper motor. The low-speed control is plenty good enough for my use case, but being a stepper motor, the faster you go, the lower the torque it can apply. What happens to Stringman when one of the lines pulls harder than the motor can handle? The stepper misses steps, not just 2 or 3, but hundreds. The gripper falls out of the air and crashes into something, and then the MKS42C controller winds it back up to where it started, sometimes causing the same problem over and over again. Alright. Missed steps. I'm tired of these anchors that miss steps. They drive me absolutely bonkers. I use a speed limit in the Stringman motion controller to try and keep the torque under the limit, but the exact limit's actually unknowable with the information available to the current system. It's a function of speed, line angle, and payload mass, and we don't know payload mass. Now, if you studied engineering, you already know that the universal solution to any problem is a bigger motor, and that's the first thing I tried. I bought the next size up from MakerBase, and yes, it is stronger, but also louder, and the torque still dips far too low at higher speeds. This is when I started looking at BLDC motors with FOC controllers. This is what the other robots use, and most of the time they have a planetary, cycloidal, or harmonic reducer. I ended up going with the BLDC direct drive hub motor from Daimao. It's still only $70 each, and it has about 8 times the torque of the MKS42C. It's very quiet because I no longer need a reducer, and the built-in FOC controller is excellent. A strong runner-up, though, was the Modius R4 from MJBots with a 5208 brushless motor. It would have gotten me similar specs, and it had a really good interface, but unfortunately it was almost twice the cost of the Daimao, and with extra assembly steps to perform. I can attest that it's very well designed, though, and Josh offers top-tier support. So this brings me to the other major points of feedback that I wanted to address with the new anchor. The first time I tried to install Stringman in someone's home was at my college roommate's house. He could certainly use a robot or 12 to clean up around there, but his wife had some really solid criticisms of my design. First, mounting it makes holes in the wall. So I separated the mounting bracket from the anchor, and I can adapt this for tripods so that I can demo without leaving holes. Second, it takes up 4 outlets, and on top of that, the system of remotes that I was using meant that you would have a wall wart on top of another wall wart. To solve this, I'm grouping the anchor lines into pairs. Each anchor now has 2 spools in it, and one of the lines goes through a ceramic eyelet in an adjacent corner. Now it'll only require 2 outlets. Then there was issues I knew about. The wire I'm using to get power to the gripper is too thin and wears out after about a month. And I found an alternative that's perfectly suited to this application, but man, let me tell you, there is no imposter syndrome like the one you get from putting an RFQ out on Alibaba for the first time and then buying 3,000 meters of cable directly from a factory as if you're some kind of real businessman. But it's good cable, so thank you very much, Shanghai Dingzhong. The little switch inside the anchor that I use to tell whether the line is tight has done its job well, but it's too delicate and finicky. It's a point of failure, and we don't need it anymore since the Daimao controller gives us constant torque feedback. We can even use it to estimate payload mass now. Other testers told me that it was too annoying to take the white cover on and off, and I agree. I made a slot in it. Solved. On top of that, in the old one, the holes in the cover were functionally important. Now the functional part is in the frame, so you can run it with the cover off. It was also too hard to attach the lines to the display box, so I made a system with carabiners. I got loads of other feedback from installs in people's homes, such as the need to clear the Wi-Fi if you accidentally put it on a guest network, or a way to tell whether the anchor can see the origin card during calibration. We ran into one case where we swore it could see the card, but there was a glare on the floor from a window stopping it from working. Once we closed the window, calibration worked like a charm. If you're working on robots, there is nothing more valuable than getting them out there in people's homes and testing them. The new anchors, which share the codename of the new gripper, Arpeggio, solve every issue I've encountered so far. The ceramic eyelet in the adjacent corner works great, and the line crossing the wall is nearly invisible. 2 cameras are just enough to track the marker box and locate targets, and the new motors are performing great. The calibration problem has become more complex, though. Instead of having a camera in every corner that can observe markers on the floor to locate itself, we only get to do that with 2 corners. There are 2 other pull points in the room that we have to locate, and the only way to know where they are is by the effect that they have on the marker box when we pull the line. So what method can we use to solve this problem? Somehow it must involve moving the marker box around and observing it. And I think that having some of the lines slack and some tight would mean that we can isolate the effect of certain lines. So let's keep just the 2 eyelet lines tight and the rest slack. The marker box and the 2 eyelets should lie in the same vertical plane. Now, what if we change the length of those eyelet lines and observe where the marker box is at a couple of locations? I think if we know those locations, then we have over-constrained the system, and an optimizer will be able to find those eyelet positions for us. If successful, we obtain the position of all 4 pull points, and we can use the rest of the control code that worked back when there were 4 anchors. The result is a much stronger, quieter, and more reliable robot. Now I really can just focus on training it to do chores with imitation learning, knowing that the low-level motion control is solid. If you're thinking it would be fun to try one, I'm happy to report that I have several for sale, and Stringman with pilot anchors are ready to ship right now, and units with the Arpeggio anchors will be ready in a few weeks. Please check the links in the description below. Thank you.